All right. If you grow corn or soybeans, you definitely know this frustration. Deer damage, it feels like they're just unstoppable sometimes, right? Eating into your income, causing stress, crop losses. It's a huge liability. Seems like there's no real fix short of, expensive fencing or something. But what if I told you that herd, the one causing all the trouble, could actually become, believe it or not, a steady source of passive income? Okay, let's unpack this idea. We've gathered some really interesting material for you today. We looked at segments from AgriTalk. We've got insights from industry folks like JT Frager, he's the CEO of Basecamp Leasing, and landowners too, like Rob Kashnik from Illinois. So our goal here, our mission for this deep dive is to really understand this opportunity. We want to break down the money side, sure, but also the management practices you need to actually make it work, turning those problem animals into, well, revenue.
Yeah, and just a quick takeaway right up front if you're maybe driving or multitasking, leasing your land for hunting. It's genuinely one of the biggest sort of hidden income sources out there for landowners. Like JT Krager said, it's like an asset just sitting there waiting.
Okay, hidden income. Let's get straight to the numbers then.
Yeah.
This isn't just like small change, is it? The sources we looked at suggest good hunting leases can bring in, what, $20 to maybe $45 an acre per year? But that's a pretty big range, $20 to $45. What makes the difference there? What pushes it higher?
That's the key question, really, and it ties directly back to how much effort, how much management is involved. So if you're getting that $20 an acre, that's often just basic access, minimal work, decent land, decent area. You sign the paper, they hunt. But to get up into that $45 an acre range, sometimes even more, that's about active management. We mean really creating good habitat, putting in specific food plots, controlling access, maybe even better infrastructure like good blinds or designated parking. The hunter's paying top dollar. They want a premium experience, something predictable. And that means the landowner has put in the work or dedicated the right kind of land to make that property really attractive.
Right, right. So the return reflects the investment in the product you're offering. Makes sense.
Okay, before we dive deeper into the how of management, what about the risk? If you formalize this, liability must be a concern, right? How is that usually handled? Contracts.
Exactly.
And that's where a solid lease agreement is absolutely crucial. Most reputable leasing companies, like Basecamp, they actually require the hunters, the lessees, to carry their own liability insurance. And importantly, they usually have to name the landowner as an additional insured party.
Ah,
So that shifts the liability for recreational accidents away from the farmer and onto the hunter and their insurers.
that's huge.
Yeah. And structure-wise, to lock in that higher rate, that $45 an acre, often the best bet is a multi-year lease, maybe 2-3 years. That gives the lessee confidence to invest in habitat themselves, like perennial food plots, and it gives you, the landowner, stable, predictable income,
Yeah.
directly offsetting that frustration we talked about earlier.
Yeah, that direct link passive income wiping out the cost of deer damage, that's a powerful idea. So money is one part. But the management side, the part that gets you the higher return, that tells us how to get that value, especially you mentioned using land that might not be great for crops anyway.
Precisely. We need to think beyond just the prime fertile acres. Leasing is a fantastic way to make use of what people often call marginal ground, land that's maybe too rocky or too wet, or the slopes too steep to farm efficiently.
Right. Or CRP land.
Or land in the CRP, the
Yeah.
Conservation Reserve Program, exactly.
Right.
This land is already less productive for cash crops, so it's kind of the perfect spot to focus on maximizing wildlife habitat instead.
And you mentioned Rock Ketchnig, the owner of K Ranch in Illinois. He's a real-world example of this, right? Focusing on that marginal land.
Yeah, he's a great case study. He's specifically managing those less productive acres to really boost the wildlife habitat. What's really interesting is that he's taking an area that was probably, barely breaking even or maybe even costing him money to maintain.
Uh-huh.
And by dedicating it to high-quality habitat, he turns it from a potential drain into a premium asset that commands a higher lease rate. It's smart stewardship with a very clear financial benefit.
Okay, but let me just push back slightly here. If I'm a corn farmer, right, and I take, say, 5 acres out of production, maybe even decent ground, not just marginal stuff, and plant a food plot, haven't I just swapped lost income from corn for the cost and effort of the food plot? How does that math work out?
That's a fair question, and you definitely have to run the numbers. But often, especially if it is on slightly less productive ground, the food plot wins out financially. First, like you hinted, that land might have already been costly or inefficient to farm. The profit margin might have been super thin or even negative.
Sure.
Second, and this is key, that small food plot can dramatically lift the value per acre of the entire surrounding lease area. So let's say adding 5 acres of really good food plots bumps your rate on maybe 150 acres from $25 up to $40 an acre.
Ah.
Well, you've easily paid for your seed in your time, and you've significantly boosted your total revenue across the whole leased area.
I see. So the plot acts like an anchor, pulling up the value of everything around it. Okay, so let's talk specifics then. Food plots. That seems to be the core management strategy for getting top dollar. What do they actually do for the deer that, regular woods or fields don't?
Well, food plots are really about targeted nutrition.
Mm.
They offer specific benefits, high protein or energy, that deer might struggle to get reliably from just browsing on whatever's naturally available, especially, as seasons change or during tough weather. Katchnick focuses on this because he knows, fundamentally, a healthier herd means a more valuable lease. It also signals to the hunter that the landowner is serious about quality.
And this is where the biology connects directly to the money, right? Based on what sources like Basecamp Leasing point out, it's not just about keeping deer around. It's about making them, well, better deer.
Better, healthier deer, exactly. There are sort of 3 main biological wins. First, the right food does raise healthier farms, better survival rates, stronger young. That means a sustainable herd year after year. Second, and this is a big draw for those paying premium lease rates, the bucks tend to grow bigger, heavier racks.
The trophy potential.
Right. That trophy potential directly increases what hunters are willing to pay. And third, which is crucial for the whole system, the entire herd can build up the fat reserves they need to get through a tough, cold winter. Ensures you have a healthy population ready for the next hunting season.
And this isn't just theoretical, right? Katchnick actually sees this happen.
Oh yeah, he sees it directly.
Yeah.
He mentioned that during bad weather, like heavy snow or extreme cold, the deer just herd up right where he's planted that crucial food supply. It's like instant feedback proof that his investment in that plot is working. It attracts the deer and, importantly, holds them on his property.
And there's that little bonus he mentioned too, which I thought was interesting. Something about sheds.
Yeah. He pointed out that if you have a healthy herd hanging around, you'll find their shed antlers in the spring too. You'll have the sheds, he said. Shed hunting has become pretty popular, another recreational aspect. And beyond that, he just genuinely enjoys seeing the wildlife thrive, watching the turkeys, pheasants, the deer, enjoying the new growth in the spring. It just makes a whole farm more alive, more enjoyable.
Yeah, that makes the whole thing feel less transactional, more like stewardship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It really backs up what Chip Flory mentioned in one of the sources, that putting these conservation practices in place boosts the enjoyment for everyone, the farmer and the non-farmer alike. It's this neat cycle where good stewardship actually generates profit. So if we boil it all down for the listener, hunting leases seem to do 2 really important things at once. One, they take that liability, the deer damage, and turn it into a real financial asset, potentially that $45 an acre, maybe more. And 2, they encourage real practical land stewardship by making the most out of land that wasn't great for crops anyway, like CRP or other marginal areas.
It really is a fascinating way to flip a problem into a source of income, a non-traditional one at that. And considering the sources suggest demand for these kinds of quality, well-managed hunting leases is actually increasing. People want guaranteed access, good experiences. It really shifts the question for you, the landowner, doesn't it? If turning a nuisance like deer into both income and better property security works this well, it kind of makes you wonder what other untapped assets, what other non-traditional opportunities might be hiding right there on your property, just waiting for a bit of creative thinking and maybe some management effort. Something to think about until our next deep dive.